nightly business report.
Good evening. Tonight, with more than 175,000 visitors in the first 20 days of February, Sri Lanka is poised for yet another record-breaking month in terms of visitor arrivals. In January of this year, Sri Lanka's national monthly consumer prices increased by 0.9%, which was less than the 1.1% increase in December. Higher food and non-food prices during the month were the main cause of the shift. The Colombo Stock Exchange continued its downward trend from yesterday, closing lower on the second trading day of the week. There were significant drops in both the S&P SL20 and the All-Share Price Index. And as investor apprehension over AI's potential effects impacted on tech equities, the Nasdaq finished lower. The broader index declined as a result of worries about possible hazards and regulatory obstacles for AI advancements.
From Studio 24, here's Anuradhi Vikramasinghe.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Sri Lanka is set for another record-breaking month in tourist arrivals with over 175,000 visitors recorded in the first 20 days of February. The figures show a 14.76% year-on-year increase according to the Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority.
Sri Lanka is on track to record its best ever February for tourist arrivals, with the first 20 days surpassing 175,000 visitors. If the current trend continues, the country could exceed 245,000 arrivals, breaking the previous record of 235,618 in 2018. The average daily arrivals so far this month stand at 8,772, up from 7,644 per day during the same period last year. India remains the largest source of visitors, contributing 25,293 arrivals, followed by Russia with 22,280 and the United Kingdom with 18,785. Year-to-date, Sri Lanka has welcomed 428,197 tourists. The country is targeting 3 million visitors by the end of this year. The growth in arrivals reflects the nation's increasing appeal as a travel destination. The Sri Lankan Tourism Development Authority continues to monitor the positive trends, anticipating further growth in the coming months. This surge in tourism is expected to boost the local economy and support the country's hospitality industry. Authorities are optimistic that the growth will be sustainable throughout the year.
Sri Lanka will impose a 15% tax on foreign exchange earnings for individuals, including freelancers, starting from April this year. The tax, initially listed as a corporate tax in the budget, will now apply to individuals who provide services to foreign parties and bring back foreign currency through the banking system. The change is part of amendments to the Inland Revenue Act, which also includes changes to income tax slabs. Freelancers and professionals providing services to international clients, such as IT consultants, will be impacted by this tax. Previously, foreign exchange earnings were exempt from tax to encourage inflows. The International Monetary Fund had recommended a 30% tax on service exports, which was later negotiated down to 15%. Sri Lanka's national monthly consumer prices rose by 0.9% in January of this year, a slowdown compared to December's 1.1% increase. The change was driven by higher food and non-food prices during the month.
Sri Lanka's national consumer prices slowed to a 0.9% increase in January this year compared to 1.1% rise in December last year. On an annual basis, the price decline deepened to 4%, significantly worse than 2% drop seen in December last year. This marks the fifth consecutive month for deflation, which began in September last year following consistent cuts to fuel and electricity prices. A slowdown in consumer spending after the year-end festivities and a reduction in electricity tariffs contributed to keeping other prices in check. The central bank expects the deflationary trend to continue through the first quarter of this year before inflation turns positive. The biannual monetary policy report predicts inflation will exceed the 5% target by the end of this year and peak above the levels in mid-next year. Monthly food prices rose by 1% in January, down from 2.6% in December, as several key food items including lime and chicken saw price drops. Despite overall deflation, food staples experienced modest price increases in January.
Sri Lanka's first cable car project, set to connect Nanoya and Nuwara remains stalled due to a dispute with the Forest Department over land allocation. Despite receiving all necessary regulatory approvals, the project has failed to move forward because the Forest Department has refused to release a small portion of land needed for the parking of cable car buckets. The investor's request for land has been met with an inadequate offer, leaving both parties at an impasse. SLTDA Acting Director General Upali Ratnayaka emphasized the importance of the project as a signature initiative for Sri Lanka's tourism. The Euro 55 million project, backed by Outdoor Engineering Lanka Limited, was announced in December of 2021 and is planned to operate on a build, own, operate, transfer model. Efforts are ongoing to resolve the issue, with former president involvement in seeking a resolution. Sri Lanka saw a remarkable 114% increase in digital payments in last year, reaching 1.78 trillion rupees compared to 828 billion rupees in 2023. This is according to Prime Minister Harini Amrasuriya. Sri Lanka's digital payments to government institutions surged to 1.78 trillion rupees in 2024, a 114% increase from 828 billion in 2023. Prime Minister Harini Amrasuriya revealed this in Parliament. The Sri Lanka Customs earned 1,100 billion rupees, the Inland Revenue Department collected 618 billion rupees, and other entities such as Sri Lanka Ports Development Authority and Employees Provident Fund also contributed significantly. The Prime Minister emphasized the ongoing efforts to digitize more government institutions and integrate them into the GovPay platform launched in February of last year. This platform is designed to streamline all government payments into a single online system. The push for digital payments began in the early 2010s, with support from the Central Bank of Sri Lanka and ICTA. Sri Lanka's digital payment infrastructure has been shaped with guidance from India, particularly through its UPI system. The government aims to further improve the ease of doing business by digitizing state-owned enterprises and other relevant institutions. Let's take a short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. On the second trading day of the week, the Colombo Stock Exchange closed lower, extending yesterday's momentum of losses. Both the All-Share Price Index and the S&P SL 20 indices saw notable declines. This downturn suggests a period of market uncertainty as investors remain cautious in their trading decisions. For further insights on this, we speak with Akna Tennakun from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. Today, the stock market saw a further continuation of the selling and profit-taking sentiment that was evident across the last couple of days. The SPI dropped by about 327 points and concluded the day in the red at 16,347. The SPI witnessed a noteworthy downturn from the very start of today's session. While there were signs of a mild recovery around midday, the downturn trend asserted dominance towards the end of the session. Similar to yesterday, banking sector counters continued to exert negative pressure on the SPI, with Commercial Bank and HNB standing among the top negative contributors. Salinco Holdings emerged as the top negative contributor, with Melster Corp and LOLC Holdings also exerting noteworthy adverse pressure on the SPI. Positive contributors remained weak in both number and intensity, with Salinco Guardian Investment Trust and RIL Property standing out as the only significant ones. Turnover made a small recovery today, increasing to 2.3 billion rupees from the 2.1 billion level seen yesterday. However, this was still lower than the monthly average of 5.2 billion rupees. This was triggered by an increase in share volumes to 135 million from the 73 million figure registered yesterday. In terms of contribution to turnover, the banking sector took the lead with a contribution of nearly 30%. This was followed by capital goods and the food, beverage and tobacco segments, which accounted for a joint contribution of about 35%. Thank you.
The latest Treasury bill auction saw strong participation, with all offered amounts accepted. Yield rates showed slight adjustments compared to prior auctions. For further insights, we speak with Demantha Matthews from First Capital Holdings.
Thank you, Anuradhi. The Central Bank of Sri Lanka conducted its weekly Treasury bill auction today and raised a total of 140 billion rupees, with all three bills offered being accepted, with the majority being accepted from the 6-month maturity. Also, today's Treasury bill auction marked the 12th consecutive decline in auction yields, where we saw all three bills decline across the board. Therefore, we saw 25 billion rupees were raised from 3 months bill at a weighted average yield of 7.56%, down by 5 basis points on a week-on-week basis. While the 6 months bill saw acceptance of 65 billion rupees, with weighted average standing at 7.87, down by 3 basis points on a week-on-week basis. Meanwhile, the 12-month bill saw acceptance of 50 billion rupees at a weighted average yield of 8.35, down by 1 basis points on a week-on-week basis. The continuous decline in auction yields was mainly due to the improvement in the political stability in the country, while the improvement in key economic indicators also contributed positively towards the decline in rates. Moreover, the government of Sri Lanka presented its maiden budget last week, and this was also taken positively by investors, pushing yields further down across the curve on the Treasury bill auctions. Thank you.
Gold prices hit a new record high today, spurred by growing concerns over U.S. President Donald Trump's tariff plans. Spot gold increased by 0.4%, reaching $2,947.48 per ounce, after briefly peaking at $2,956.15 earlier in the session. This marks the 11th record high for gold in this year for U.S. gold futures, which also saw a rise, settling 0.3% higher at $2,963.20. The surge in gold prices was fueled by heightened safe haven demand as investors sought refuge from the potential economic impact of tariffs. Additionally, strong inflows into the world's top gold-backed exchange-traded fund provided further support to the precious metal. Oil prices rose today as fresh U.S. sanctions on Iran raised concerns over potential supply tightening, while strong refining margins provided additional support. Brent crude futures increased by 0.2%, reaching $74.93 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures climbed 0.3%, hitting $70.93 per barrel. Both contracts saw gains following a $2 drop in prices last Friday. The U.S. imposed new sanctions on over 30 brokers, tanker operators and shipping companies involved in transporting Iranian oil, with President Donald Trump aiming to reduce Iran's crude exports to zero. Meanwhile, refining margins in Singapore saw a significant increase, averaging $3.50 per barrel for February so far, up from $2.30 in January. The Sri Lankan rupee has strengthened further against the US dollar today, reflecting positive movement compared to yesterday. According to the Central Bank of Sri Lanka, the buying rate for the US dollar has decreased while the selling rate has also seen a reduction. Let's now take a closer look at how the Sri Lankan rupee is faring against other major global currencies. A short break now. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back. Derana's Hospital, Sri Lanka's first to implement an electrophysiology system, has upgraded its cardiac care capabilities with the advanced Abbott Workmate Claris 2D provided by Demo Healthcare.
Derana's Hospital has enhanced its cardiac care by upgrading to the Abbott Workmate Claris 2D system supplied by Demo Healthcare. This advanced electrophysiology system aids in diagnosing and treating irregular heart rhythms, crucial for managing conditions like heart attacks and heart blocks. One of its key features is innovative cooling technology, which minimizes tissue damage during ablation procedures, ensuring safer and more effective treatment. The system also supports real-time global collaboration by securing sharing live visuals, enabling precise consultations with medical professionals worldwide. Derana's Hospital selected Demo Healthcare for its expertise in representing renowned global brands, including Abbott and Siemens Healthineers. Dr. Lasantha Karunasekara, who is the CEO of Derana's Hospital, emphasized that this system will improve the lives of patients with heart rhythm abnormalities. Demo Healthcare also offers comprehensive after-sales support, ensuring the smooth and effective operation of the system for enhanced cardiac care.
Daraz Sri Lanka has launched Daraz Connect in collaboration with the National Enterprise Development Authority to empower small and medium-sized enterprises and entrepreneurs in Sri Lanka's digital economy. The initiative provides e-commerce training, helping entrepreneurs leverage online platforms to grow their businesses. Daraz Connect aims to bridge the gap between traditional businesses and e-commerce by offering workshops on setting up digital storefronts, marketing strategies, and using logistics and payment solutions. The program also offers access to Daraz University for structured learning in e-commerce, inventory management, and customer behavior. NEDA and Daraz aim to strengthen small businesses and create job opportunities across the country, especially in rural areas. Daraz Connect will expand across multiple regions in Sri Lanka, providing sustainable growth and digital inclusion for entrepreneurs. Sri Lanka Communication Services Limited has signed a memorandum of understanding with Connex Information Technologies Limited to officially introduce Sonic Wall managed services provider in Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka Communication Services Limited has partnered with Connex Information Technologies Limited to introduce the Sonic Wall managed services provider in Sri Lanka, marking a significant step in enhancing the country's cybersecurity. The memorandum of understanding was signed at the Hilton Colombo residencies, with Sonic Wall representatives Suresh Khanna and Josh Joseph in attendance. The agreement was signed by Lanka Communication Services Managing Director Rohit Udalangama and Connex Information Technologies Chief Revenue Officer Eranga Wickramasinghe. Udalangama emphasized that the collaboration strengthens their commitment to offering advanced real-time cybersecurity solutions to Sri Lankan businesses. Wickramasinghe expressed pride in partnering with Sri Lanka Communication Services and Sonic Wall to provide scalable and robust security solutions. The Sonic Wall MSP platform promises to offer affordable cybersecurity services, including unified management, advanced threat protection, and dedicated account management. This partnership aims to safeguard Sri Lankan businesses by providing swift responses to emerging cyber threats. Sampath Bank reaffirmed its commitment to advancing digital financial inclusion in Sri Lanka by participating in the central bank's Digital Payments Promotion Campaign 2025. The event, held in Hambantota, focused on promoting cashless transactions and was attended by key financial decision makers. Sampath Bank showcased its WePay digital payment solution, demonstrating its role in simplifying transactions for businesses and consumers. Central bank officials, including Governor Dr. Nandalal Weerasinghe, experienced the ease of WePay's QR payment system firsthand. Chief Information Officer Ajit Salgado emphasized that WePay is part of the bank's broader effort to enhance financial accessibility through secure and convenient digital solutions. Sampath Bank's participation underscores its role in driving digital adoption and financial literacy to shape Sri Lanka's cashless future. Serendip Flour Mill, Sri Lanka's wheat flour manufacturing, participated in the globally renowned Gulf Food 2025 exhibition in Dubai, the world's largest annual food and hospitality showcase, accompanied by their valued customers.
Serendip Flour Mills participated in the 30th edition of Gulf Food 2025, showcasing global culinary innovation and strengthening industry connections. The company, along with key clientele, benefited from its strategic partnership with the parent company Al Ghurair, a regular exhibitor in the Gulf region's food and beverage sector. During the event, Serendip Flour Mills guided guests to the AI Ghurair stall, where the offerings were prominently featured. The delegation also toured Al Ghurair's state-of-the-art production facilities in Jebel Ali, including advanced wheat flour mills, soybean processing plants, and pasta manufacturing. This tour allowed customers to witness the scale of sophistication of the parent company's operations and their world-class hygiene standards. Serendip Flour Mills emphasized the latest food technology trends and sustainability practices while strengthening its global connections. The visit concluded with a traditional desert safari, blending business with regional and cultural experiences.
CBL Group, Sri Lanka's food conglomerate, has expanded its global reach by entering the Kenyan market with the establishment of a new distribution hub. This move is part of CBL's strategy to strengthen exports and tap into emerging markets in East Africa. The company aims to grow its confectionery businesses internationally, with Kenya marking a significant milestone in global expansion. The distribution of CBL's flagship brands Munchie and Ritzbury will be managed by Expo Lanka Freight Limited, ensuring smooth delivery to supermarkets and retail outlets across Kenya and East Africa. With a strong presence in over 65 countries, CBL is committed to further expanding its export businesses and supporting Sri Lanka's economic growth. The new Nairobi hub will provide access to high-quality biscuits and chocolates, catering to consumer demand in the region. Let's take a short commercial break. Global business updates coming on the other side. This is the Nightly Business Report. Welcome back to the Nightly Business Report. Most Asian stocks fell today, with technology shares continuing their decline ahead of Nvidia's highly anticipated earnings report. Concerns over potential tightening of US chip technology exports to China added pressure to the tech sector following a Bloomberg report on the White House's stance. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index saw the steepest drop, losing 2% as a previous tech-driven rally turned into profit-taking. In contrast, South Korea's Kospi saw smaller losses, down by 0.4%, thanks to a 25 basis point interest rate cut by the Bank of Korea. Australia's ASX 200 also fell 0.6%, continuing its slide from record highs earlier this month. Meanwhile, Singapore's Straits Times Index remained flat following a weaker than expected inflation report. The Nasdaq closed lower today as investors exercise caution over the future impact of artificial intelligence advancements on the tech sector, with concerns mounting about the potential risks and regulatory challenges surrounding AI. Tech stocks took a hit, leading to a dip in the broader index.
Stocks closed mostly lower Monday, with the Dow eking out a slight gain, the S&P 500 dropping 0.5%, and the Nasdaq ending the session down 1.2%. Investors worried about demand for technology supporting artificial intelligence, while they waited for results from market heavyweight Nvidia due out Wednesday. Shares of the chipmaker ended 3% lower. Investor concerns remain over hefty spending on the technology, since low-cost AI models from China's DeepSeek rattled the industry in January. Shares of AI chipmaker Broadcom also fell sharply on Monday, while another popular AI stock, Palantir Technologies, was the tech sector's biggest percentage decliner. Meanwhile, concerns remain about tariffs and inflation, as well as economic growth after last week's batch of weak economic data and a disappointing forecast from Walmart. Other stocks on the move included Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, which rose 4% and hit an all-time high during the trading session after posting its highest ever quarterly profit, driven by improvement in insurance operations. And shares of Nike climbed 5% after Jefferies raised its rating for the stock to buy from hold.
Apple said it plans to invest $500 billion in the U.S. over the next 4 years, including the construction of a large AI server factory in Texas and the creation of 20,000 R&D jobs nationwide.
Apple said on Monday it would spend $500 billion in U.S. investments in the next 4 years. The money will fund a giant factory in Texas for artificial intelligence servers and 20,000 research and development jobs across the country in that time. It is also expected to cover spending on everything from purchases from U.S. suppliers to filming of television shows and movies for its Apple TV Plus service. Apple declined to say how much of the figure it was already planning to spend in the country. The move comes after media reports that Apple CEO Tim Cook met President Donald Trump last week. Many of Apple's products that are assembled in China could face 10% tariffs imposed by Trump earlier this month, though the iPhone maker had secured some waivers from China tariffs in the first Trump administration. One analyst tells Reuters this is a political gesture toward the Trump administration. Apple made a similar announcement about its U.S. spending plans in 2018 during the first Trump administration. Trump, in a Truth Social post, thanked Apple and Cook, saying the move reflected the company's faith in his administration. Shares of Apple were up fractionally in late morning trading.
But that's all from us here on the Nightly Business Report for today. We'll see you again Thursday with the latest updates across the business globe. Till then, I'm Anuradhi Vikramasinghe. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good night.